The schedule release last night. So we knew the opponents for Ole Miss and Mississippi State and everybody in the SEC, but we did not know when those games are going to happen. Now we do. I'm going to flip this pen. If it points at Hey Dad, we will start with State. If it points at me, it will start with Ole Miss. Ready? Here we go. It points to Hey Dad. So we will start with Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Who is getting the Ole Miss treatment. All 4 non-conference games to start the season. They open on the 30th at Southern Miss. So let's just stop right there.
Yeah.
That game could have a little extra juice. New coach at Southern Miss.
Yeah.
State coming off of a frustrating season. They'll be fired up and all of the things in between.
Southern Miss can go into that game. What's the word I want to use here? They can be optimistic, right? Because I don't think State will lose, but gosh dog, I didn't think State would lose to Toledo this year either. So, I have no idea what either one of these rosters is going to look like in a couple of months. But for Southern Miss fans, they can easily look at that game and go, we might have a chance.
No doubt. Absolutely no doubt. So that's week 1. Week 2, the return trip for Arizona State, the playoff team. Kenny Dillingham brings his boys to Starkville for the home opener for Mississippi State.
I believe Cam Scatabo is out of eligibility, so that's a good plus for Mississippi State. I would think if you're State, you are going to petition the conference. State had to play at 9 o'clock Central Time in Arizona. I want that game at 11 a.m. I want early, or 3:15 on a September Saturday.
I'll make it nice and humid.
Have it, yeah. If I can get a thunderstorm about 20 minutes before the game starts, then now we're talking.
If Mississippi State's able to get past Southern Miss, if they can't, then for the rest of the season, that Arizona State game will be gigantic for Jeff Lebby. He needs that one.
Yes. If State can come in 1-0, they can
have a crowd, should have
a little juice
stuff.
Again, it depends on what happens between now and then, the portal and stuff like that. So,
Alcorn State will be their week 3 opponent, and Northern Illinois. So Mississippi State goes to Southern Miss, and then Arizona State, Alcorn State, and Northern Illinois rounds out their non-conference schedule on September 20th. They're done with non-conference games. Northern Illinois, by the way, I know they beat Notre Dame. They have kind of stunk it up.
They haven't been good. But, again...
Either was Toledo.
That's the thing. That game has poisoned the well. You can't say anything's a gimme at this point. Alcorn's a gimme. State will beat Alcorn badly. After that, nothing's a gimme.
4 straight home games for Mississippi State, concluding with Tennessee, the college football playoff participant. Tennessee at home on the 27th.
4 home games in September. And that's rough.
And that's your it's
4 in a row.
4 in a row
in September.
Yeah,
that is rough. I mean, for a season ticket holder, after the 1st of October, you're only coming back to Starkville 3 more times.
That's crazy.
It's just. I know the state doesn't have any real control over that, but gosh, dog, that is for a team that's already going to struggle to sell season tickets. What are you offering, man? This is not great. You have 1 home game in October.
Yeah, and they will go a full month without playing at home. So they got Tennessee on the 27th. Their next home game is on October 25th. But after Tennessee, they're at Texas A&M.
Yeah, first road game in conference there, yeah.
Then they're open. And remember, there's 2 open dates this year.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go to Florida.
The second one is the more interesting one.
And there's a very obvious reason why.
We'll talk about why that is, yes.
They go to Florida.
Yeah.
Host Texas.
Yeah,
that's
your only home game in October.
Then they go to Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Then they host Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go to Missouri.
Right.
Open date.
And then that's the interesting part is State and Ole Miss have a bye week before the Egg Bowl. So I think both coaches kind of complained this year about playing the short weeks. And
I know that they've done it in years past too,
especially with both teams playing conference games. It'd been one thing if you were playing your FCS team there and you could
Who did State play a couple years ago? Was it Stephen F. Austin or something that they played the week before
State,
the Egg Bowl?
19, they played Abilene Christian.
That's who I'm thinking of.
And then in 21, they played Tennessee State. And then in 22, they played East Tennessee State.
The Bucks.
Yeah, exactly. New coach there, Will Healy. Former Ole Miss head coach Will Healy.
Yeah.
Is there.
Yeah, a lot of people took the Egg Bowl being listed as Saturday and ran with it as news. That's how it happened last year. Every final game of the season is listed on Saturday. They just haven't moved them yet. That movement will come at a later date.
I spoke with somebody today, and they said, they just want to keep that flexibility. But my guess is when we get to May, they will announce that game is moving to Friday.
Yeah, Black Friday was a success for the Egg Bowl.
Trying to lose 15 to 20 pounds? Buy this 4-pack of 11 to 2:30 kickoffs for your Mississippi State Bulldogs during the month of September. It's sponsored by Jenny Craig.
I mean, there's no other way around it. State had a really brutal schedule this past season, and it's just the same opponents but flipped. It's still a very, very, very difficult schedule. I mean, you've got Arizona State, who's a college football playoff team on it, who I think returns their quarterback, and Dillingham's a good coach. You
got 4 playoff teams on the schedule, and then 2 teams in Missouri and Ole Miss that went 9-3 each.
That were both finished in the top 20.
Right, and then 8-4 Texas A&M.
On the road.
On the road. I mean, your 2 easiest conference games are at Florida and at Arkansas.
Jeez. Now, Arkansas I don't think is going to be particularly good, but Florida with Lagway and the Swamp.
They beat you. They weren't particularly good this year, and they beat you by 33.
Yeah.
So, again, nothing is taken for granted with this team. I mean, it's you look at Levy in year 2, and you'd like to think, okay, can they get back to a bowl game? If they can win 5 on this schedule, they would be doing really, really well. If they were to somehow, go 3-1 in the non-conference and 2-6 in the conference and go 5-7, that's doing really well. I don't know what Arizona State's going to look like next year. I couldn't even begin to tell you. But what's that line today? They're at least a touchdown favorite.
Double digits,
probably. Yeah.
Hey, Dad, if State loses to open the season at Southern Miss, is Lebby on the hottest seat there's ever been?
100%.
Yeah, you can't lose that one because this follow-up text is right. Southern Miss football is gross. Now, it was gross. I think Huff will make it ungross rather quickly, but point taken. If State can't win that, oh boy, Lebby is done, and I don't care that they got Huff. He ain't turning it around to beat Mississippi State that quickly.
I tend to agree with that. I think State will go down there and win relatively easily. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that anything's a gimme after what happened with the Toledo game. I'm just not.
Somebody says Toledo was supposed to have been a dark horse playoff team at the start of the season.
That's just not accurate.
It shouldn't have surprised you guys. No.
They were not even predicted to win the MAC. No. They were not this guy says that them, Memphis, and Tulane, Boise was always the favorite to be the group of 5 representative.
Yes. Boise, Tulane, and Memphis were the 3.
Not Toledo.
Toledo had a really good season in 23, but they lost all of their production from that team.
Yes.
Everybody.
Like I said, they weren't even the preseason favorite to win the MAC.
But that is your schedule. And, we'll talk about it a lot, obviously, between now and the start of next season. But the main takeaway, the 2 buys, the Egg Bowl, very unlikely to be on Saturday. It being listed on Saturday means nothing, so don't take it as anything. And I don't know what Mississippi State did to the schedule makers at the SEC, because last year and this year, I'm going to put this so eloquently, right? I was a journalism major and an English minor, so I can say things like this. That sucks.
I got screwed.
That just sucks, is what that does.
And look, you didn't know at the time. No. Some of this stuff. But it's not that you didn't know the teams the State was playing was going to be good. You didn't know how bad State was going to be.
That also is a factor.